It's recording right now. All right.
Yeah, well.
But I guess, are you gonna pull these up from here?
Yeah.
You might want to, if it doesn't show, you might want to.
No, I have to pull it over there.
Okay.
So I don't want to see this.
It's recording though. Okay, so, but if you want to pull it back up,
I'll get it.
it's over here on the bottom corner. But,
Classroom while we're doing this.
yeah, but you guys,
I want to put out a drink.
I'm gonna celebrate it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't really write it.
Is there a coming?
Probably not.
Okay.
She started a class this morning.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, Callo?
Yeah.
You wanna give us a round up?
Sure.
You might need it. Why are you sniping all the time, baby?
Because pretty good. If it works, I guess so. I can choose to work just a half of the sandwich, just half of the soup. Pretty
What
good.
kind of sandwich?
I get the orange cranberry club. No ham, no sweet.
No ham, no Swiss.
Mm-mm.
And what's on it?
It's got turkey, it's got cheddar, it's
Oh.
got
Got it.
lettuce, tomato, and
Got it.
orange cranberry sauce. It's like really good. And then I like the tortilla soup. They're pretty fabulous.
What about a drink?
And
Hey, Brenda, is Marty coming?
No, she has more.
She okay?
She's good. Mhm. Everybody said that.
I'm good.
Oh, nice.
My ex-wife,
Make yourself at home.
Thank you.
Caleb's.
Oh.
He's
Paula,
been home
where are you?
for- Right there in the front, baby.
Okay.
I am gonna go, I'm sorry.
You don't know who
Who she just got. I think it was.
Is Wendy coming?
So,
I didn't see him.
Andre, I thought so. Did we
Wendy
move it?
needs to come.
Anthony,
You want to pass it?
I did it.
You did
I
it.
remember.
You did it.
I'm a good girl. There's more.
Oh, no, thank you. I brought a bottle.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that would be a bigger cup. Because Rosalinda put a bunch of water in it. She's got a few little ice cubes, but everybody else knows the water's at. Company, first time in here. Now your mother's company, it's not the first time she's here, but.
Did you show her
But she
where
don't
the
know where
potty
it
is
is.
in case she needs to?
We're gonna,
Okay.
I don't come down here often enough. I need to come often.
it's just so comfortable. Everybody else is family. It's your own stuff.
Right.
We'll
Yeah,
get,
that's the way it is at my house. I'll serve you the first time and then after that, you don't.
you all know, and if you don't, hey, if you don't ask, I'm so sorry.
Right?
All righty. It's 9:05. We got lots to do
This is the
today.
wrong time.
Huh?
It's 5:10.
It's
It's
5:10. Yes, ma'am. It's 5:10. And we are starting. Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Okay. Miss Wendy, Mr. Odd, so we are
Your
good.
menus here, baby, you need to write in the back. Let us know which one.
All righty, I want to welcome everybody.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm gonna take my mask off, so I don't have to scream, if you don't mind. Want to welcome everybody, thank you for coming. Today is the day after daylight savings time, so we are having National Nap Day. I didn't want anybody to miss it, okay? I believe in humor, I believe that we should share each other's enthusiasm, and we should relax. If you've got questions, just put up your paw, and I will try and answer. Okay, this is Miss Holly Gertz. She is going to do the second half. I'm doing the first half, which is exciting. Okay, this morning, I want to share with you a few documents that I happened to find while I was reading. You know, when you can't wake up or you can't stay asleep. And I found that this was really interesting. This was written February 2nd, 2021. And it says, report, nursing homes cope with huge staff shortages. Okay, so we are right on target for our CNA program. All right, I really thought that it would be, you know, prudent to have a little bit of why we're really killing ourselves to learn Prometric. But it's, you know, this is a very recent article. The second article, and in the first part of your folder, there is the complete article, all right, for you. Now, here's the second one. And this one is solving nursing shortages in Texas specifically. And the other one was Texas. And this is in your very first package on the left side of your binder. Okay, and this is March 1st, 2021. And it says solving Texas's nursing shortage. Okay, and in this, it tells us that they identified it in 2016, which was really, really nice of them. But here's where our bottleneck is. A critical bottleneck is that nursing programs often receive more qualified applicants and resources to accept. In short, there's a nursing faculty shortage. Okay, so as nurse educators, we have job security here, okay? And one of the solutions of down further is finding ways to prepare more nursing education faculty and incentive faculty who could be teaching in our schools or in clinical settings to come back to university settings like ours to participate in the training of the next generation of nurses. So, you know, yay, Jana is going to go back to school and get her degree. So we're going to be good. Okay, we have Jeanette, she has her degree. We have Rosalinda, we have Brenda, me, you know, so life is going to be good. We're going to be well placed. And Miss Holly.
Nurse practitioner.
Yay!
Celebrating.
Yay! So this is good, you know, we're well set up. But I just, you know, this is our current environment. And this is what we need to be doing, is teaching, and teaching a lot. Okay, I'm going to go to the PowerPoints, and hold on. I got to switch screens.
Paula, did we introduce everybody? I'm sorry, I came a little late, so I don't know if you've already done that or not.
We've kind of done.
Let's go around the room real quick and introduce everybody, because we have Rosalinda back in from the start, so we may not know everybody.
We already introduced ourselves, but this is Miss Jeanette. She's our new girl from over here, and I can't never say her last name. She's gonna keep on doing it, but this is Miss. I forgot already.
Everybody can just introduce themselves. Janet, you want to start?
I'll start. I will. Hi, I'm Jana Villarreal. Talking to several of y'all on Teams. Bragg is my certification. Also, I'm here today. And I teach patient care tech for bonding and EKG this year, starting program. Really exciting. Yeah, love it. I'm Ethne Valenzuela, and I'm a graduate from the college, just like probably a lot of you guys. But I came on, I'm helping Rosalinda teach the pharmacy tech class. I was born and raised in Fort Stockton, so. Yeah. And I'm also Linda, and I work at the WRTC in Fort Stockton, CNA, going on 3 years, and this year we started with pharmacy tech, and I started the first semester, and then we got Anthony to help me, and also a CNA inspector, so.
I can't get this to switch, Holly.
You teach a lot more than just CNA.
Oh, yeah, all the health science classes.
Yeah.
All the health science classes.
I've
for
switched
2
it.
years, and then CNA. CPR. I'm Sandra, and I'm elected.
Go up to from here
Okay, that's great.
and see how it is.
You're the group.
You have any notes?
Nope.
I'm Kim, and I'm the adult ed advisor coordinator for all these classes that the adults take.
So some of this over here.
Questions about nursing,
Huh?
what's going on, so.
See, this is what it's done. It's
She's the only non-health person in the room. She's
Swab.
adopted.
okay.
Nice to meet you in person.
In real life. I'm Jeanette Abdel Shafi. I wonder if she couldn't say it.
It takes me a while. It's Ab. I got the Ab.
It's an Egyptian last name.
It sounds
My
wonderful.
husband, thanks to my husband. I just started, what was it that I started?
It was 3 weeks ago.
The 22nd. I remember that.
Yeah, but you only worked 2 weeks.
Yeah. I just started, I'm actually a Midland College graduate. I took the CNA class and Miss Wendy Wood was my teacher when I took the CNA
In
class here.
2004.
Yeah, something like that, here in this very room. And then, welcome back.
Yeah.
And then I graduated nursing school at Midland College, got my bachelor's, and working on my master's right now. Go to Texas Tech.
Nice.
Master's in nursing education, so one of the teaching route. So I'm excited to be here with you. Part of the team.
I'm Richard Conway, and I'm not a graduate from Midland College, but I've been around here for a couple of days. And I noticed, I read something here at the bottom, Wendy. It says, they're talking about shortages, and it says, develop a program to decrease the workload by having teaching assistant roles to grade papers, tutors, proctor exams, file, etc.
She's ahead of her time.
What year is that on? You must have been quoting me.
Right here, the second page before.
Excellent.
Down at the bottom.
Good, because for us to do what we do, we need support.
Yeah.
And that's why we have some lovely lab assistants.
Right.
We couldn't do what we do without them kind of being a win-win.
Right.
That means also Kim supporting us.
Right.
So that's, and more of it. Thanks for pointing that out, Brenda.
Yeah.
So it's got something for everybody.
Yeah, it does.
Excellent.
I'm Paula Callo. I am a nursing instructor in the CNA program, and I'm program director for the CNA program here at the ATC. And I deal with parametric almost on a daily basis. And so I'm going to hopefully share some of the insights of navigating prometric so that we can get in and out of it with minimal trouble, especially for our students, because that seems to be a major congestion area where we're having a lot of problems, and I will address that. Okay, Ms. Holly, did you introduce yourself?
Yeah, first of all, CNA.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! Okay.
And practicum.
Yeah, and
CNA
there's
grant.
the practicum.
And Miss Holly's from Lafayette, correct?
No, I'm Gary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Louisiana. I'm sorry. I'm letting you know today. Sitting here crying. I'm just letting you know. I'm sorry. My mother-in-law died just now.
Oh, sorry.
Not mother-in-law. My ex-wife, my stepson's mama. I think so, baby. Check it out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, Ray's on there too.
Also announcement, Carmen, Dr. Edwards will be joining us for lunch today. You know, Brenda and Carmen go way back.
Yeah.
We worked at the site hospital together for about 4 years.
I'm sorry to hear that, Holly.
They just let me know. I just visited her Friday.
Sorry.
She looked horrible, but she was dying of cancer. You know how that is.
Not right.
Well, Paula is the program director for nurse aid here at the ATC for Health, Texas Health and Human Services. And Rosalinda is the same thing, same title with Health and Human Services in Fort Stockton. TTC, and then also a leadership thing here. Jan is the department chair over nurse aid dual credit. But just the dual credit, not the adults. And then Kim kind of, you're the coordinator of the adults. So we have like a Venn diagram of leadership.
I need one of those, so I know what's going on.
They're rocking circles.
Okay, y'all don't look at me. We're not gonna see Shirley.
I
You're
said-
gonna announce
Introduce
something.
yourself.
You all know me, Annie.
Oh.
Oh, not at all. Oh, just put this for lunch and just Chinese.
Okay, in your, Prometric folder, this is what it looks like. Okay, conquering Prometric, and it really feels like, you know, we've been dealing with the dinosaurs and fighting, and I'm very determined that we are gonna win this puppy. If, you know, it's just really important to keep a positive attitude, and trust me, there have been days when, you know, you want to put your head through the wall. But you know, that doesn't help. It gives you a headache. So you get out the aspirin and keep on moving, because that's what nurses do. I put an agenda here for the day. I'm going to teach about conquering Prometric. I'm going to explain the sacred spreadsheet. Okay, steps for registration. And I'm also going to talk about the test plan for written examination. And let me tell you, they really don't want to share or anybody to know about it. It has taken an active, dear Lord, to get a hold of it. And I found it in 3 pieces of it in 3 different places. So I put it all together in one place. So I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. And then after I'm finished, Ms. Holly's going to talk about our Prometric skills, because they've changed from the way Credentia did it. So we're going to point out all the different key points that we can. And she's prepared a lot of stuff for you. Okay. I'm going to go to the podium and start on the PowerPoints. Okay, and I thought a T-Rex was very appropriate, because this is how it started out. It was like a takeover. One day Credentia was there, and the next day Prometric was there, and we were like, what is a Prometric? You know, and they haven't been easy to communicate with or get information. And for me, I'm a research fiend, and if there's a way to find it out, I'm going to find it out. And so I've condensed what it's taken me months to do, because I've been working on this since August. Okay, moving right along. Okay, the next one, I have a few thank yous. The Prometric website, I've done numerous seminars online. Cindy Patterson at Prometric, I've made friends with, and she has been enormously helpful. I can't say enough nice stuff about Cindy. Sharita at Prometric, Sean at Prometric, Rosalinda sent me some pointers, and I've included them in the PowerPoints, and I want you to get credit for it. Okay, so those are the ones I could remember. There are many others, but I just didn't want to, go on and on forever. Okay, this is our plan A. We need to get our information to get our students registered. This is our big congestion point where trying to get them registered is a nightmare. And I hope I can simplify it by showing you the steps. Also, I've copied a video with permission from Prometric to show you, and it's on their website now. Because after I saw it, I thought, you really need to put this on their website. That's where Sean came in, and he downloaded it and put it on the website. Steps to get registered that Rosalinda shared with me, and questions, I will try and answer them, but we're still not 100%, but we're getting there. Okay, students need to bring this information before registration begins. They need the fee for their exam, for the written and the clinical using a credit card or a voucher. Okay, vouchers are purchased by the school, and it's usually in a block. So they have to have that number in order to register. Okay, if they're paying by credit card, they need to have the credit card right there with them. Okay, now email letter from SMT testing with your eligibility information and user ID number and passcode. Okay, you have to have that before you can register, because if you don't, then you don't have your user ID and passcode to get in. Okay, and so when you fill in your beginning information, you need to do that. Also, you need an email personal and your email school. Now, the problem with the email letter from SMT is the children are looking for Prometric, because that's what we're always talking about, is Prometric. Okay, they need to check their spam folder, their dump folder, their quarantine folder, because a lot of times this is where it gets sent, because it's an unfamiliar email. And I thought that was really interesting. But, because the kids, they fill out their little information thing. They're waiting for the letter. They're looking for Prometric. So this is one of our sore spots, and we need to let them know it comes from SMT testing. Okay. They need the email, they need a home address and phone numbers. They need 2 phone numbers, one for their cell, and the second phone number is like their parents. They need a second one. The reason being is if the event is canceled, Prometric will notify them. Okay, or we one time had an ice storm, a freak ice storm come in, and they had to cancel it and trying to get a hold of everybody so that they wouldn't come was a nightmare. So this is how Prometric has addressed that problem. Okay, is everybody good with that?
Paula, do they need their personal email and their school email?
Yes.
If they don't have the school email.
If they're in our class.
The adults don't have a school email.
Mhm.
What about?
If they have a second
Erica's
email,
class?
Yeah, we don't give them a school email. Whereas when I did the year students have a school email.
The high school students do, but not the adults.
Why do they need the school email? I'm just curious.
because they, from what Cindy told me, is that if it gets dumped in one email, if it gets dumped into the spam folder or the quarantine folder, and they keep saying they haven't gotten it, in the school folder, the filter doesn't filter it out.
I don't know how they would do it. Does it block them from receiving if they don't put 2 emails in?
No.
It's suggested.
It's highly recommended,
So not required, but recommended?
highly, okay? But, you know, this is what I've learned from the seminars that Prometric gives. Okay, because there are several that they've given that have only been for program chairs that, you know, register.
I mean, I have a few from time to time who will have a Midland College email because they took courses,
Yeah,
but in general, they don't.
okay, well, if they've got a second personal email, that would be good. Because most people have 2 emails, one for all the junk and one for the one they check. All righty. Next thing.
Oh, they need to have.
Yeah, they're using Canvas,
Right.
but I've been sending personal emails on that.
See, and I've had issues with the school emails because they get filtered and they don't get that email.
Right.
So I rather use a personal one because I know they're gonna get it. Because the school ones, they have so many things locked. So, but I guess 2 emails would be.
It'd be safer, I guess. You know, this is what Cindy shared with me, is if you don't get it in one or the other, you know, they just want to back up, just like with the phone numbers.
Or another issue I've had is that they don't pay attention and they type in their email wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or Prometric. On my student that was Vasquez, it was with 2 Z's and they didn't with the S, so she never got the email.
Mm-hmm.
So having a second email would prevent that from us waiting for the email. She would have gotten it in the other one.
Right. And the other thing I found, because when we tried it, Kim and I and Erica tried it with one of her students. You've got, you know, don't let them just sit down at the computer and, you know, I'm watching TV over here, I'm doing this. They need to be focused. Because like if like with Vasquez, putting 2 Z's, you know, that little thing wrecked the whole
Right.
process because they didn't receive the email because of an incorrect spelling. Okay, so they really need to pay attention and double check what they've put in. And I recommend also, this is me personally, is having a piece of paper and them writing exactly which 2 emails that they give and which 2 phone numbers so that they're sure they're doing it right. You know, we all put in grades, and when you're putting in grades, you could transpose a number. You know, that's happened. So I think they're trying to, you know, dot all their I's, cross all their T's, and pray it works. Okay. Now, steps to the application process, you go to the link included in your letter, and it begins with SMT. Okay, you enter your user ID and passcode. This is going to take you to the candidate dashboard. Okay, and I have a video with all this on it for you. Okay, if you have problems, here is their 1-800 number. Now, their 1-800 number is for the entire US. It is not specifically for Texas. So you will be on eternal hold for a while. Okay? I'm just telling you ahead of time. And I'm not being facetious. Eternal hold begins with a short wait time of at least 15 minutes. Okay? So don't hang up and call them again. Stay on the line. All right? You click the application tab and you go to the candidate management system. And this will have your name and user ID, status date, and school code. The next thing is you click the tab at the top of the page and there's a drop-down box for certification. You click on that. Then you will get the TXCNA Nurse Aid application certification will pop up when you click it. Okay, so it's a series of commands that you're going to be going through. And I'll show you the video that goes with this. Okay, the profile screen will come up. This has your name and address, you know, the phone numbers on it that you have filled in from your first application. Okay, the accommodation screen, if you need to fill it out, you know, the thing I caution you about is with this, if you need accommodations, it's going to delay your taking your exam at least 6 weeks. You have to have a file to load into the application that presents all your documentation for it. And you must also have received these same accommodations during the time you were in the CNA class. Okay? If you have these accommodations and they were not honored or done during the CNA class, you cannot get them.
Paula,
Mhm.
Kim, do you have some information about if they need accommodations, that they have to go through appropriate channels through the college to get that?
Right, there, what's his name? Ty Solis is the one that they have to contact if they want accommodations.
Mhm.
And
And we would know about accommodations ahead of time, you know.
because I get phone calls from time to time about that,
Mhm.
and I haven't had anybody follow through with recently.
I know Miss Erica just had a student with the amplified.
Yeah, well, a
Stethoscope,
couple of years ago, we
but-
had a girl that was deaf.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but
And
I know that she used it when she was in class, but I don't think they went through. So in case she needed to use it, but then we're not doing blood pressure, so I don't think there'll be any problem there.
Need to make sure Erica understands about that too, so she's not just accommodating casually.
Okay.
So that, Paula, if they get accommodations for the testing, they have to have formal accommodations at the college as well during training, or just?
They have to have it done during the CNA course itself.
What about accommodations through MISD that they're tagged for, like allowing extra time to test? If that's an accommodation, and that's
Have that too.
through special education. Yeah, that's through special education, that's what something. Yeah, if we have to meet that, does that count?
Gosh, that's a
Yes.
question.
It does.
Cause yeah, it should, because they have a whole plan in their curriculum.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, I
talk to
agree.
the, metric, what type of accommodations would they be able to provide for a student who had, the 504 or if they had
I don't think they will.
It's similar to what we used to have to do. We've done it once for the little girl that was deaf. You have to have the doctor's certificate, or at MISD, they already have that information. They can copy their stuff from them. And then you need to go through, like it took us, I want to say almost 4 weeks for her to be able to test.
yeah, so it's more complicated.
It's kind of, I looked at it, but I didn't go through it. It's kind of the same process.
And she never did pass.
The other thing is with Prometric, the only accommodation they are really going to give them is if they need it read to them. That is their only accommodation they are going to give. And I will tell you it basically what Cindy said it boils down to is they have a tape recorder that reads them the exam.
Would that benefit them or would that just be more complicated for them?
I don't know.
So how is that the same for the accommodation that was in the classroom? If they, like they had to have accommodation in the classroom to get this accommodation, what does that look like in the classroom in their eyes?
We don't have that accommodation here.
Maybe we just allow more time for these hours to
Any accommodation through special education through MISD, Midland College policy is they have to have made the college aware that they have the IEP or the VIP, that they have these accommodations. And then Midland College would in turn ensure that we're meeting those needs, like College High. But the policy says that if they don't make Midland College aware of it, then they don't have to meet those accommodations in the classroom.
So maybe when they're applying, that should be a question.
For sure.
Do you have a current IEP? in the school district?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of it is read to them, a lot extra time for a test.
Mm-hmm.
Could that mean like even still
Small
portion
bit,
of
big
it?
enough, small bit?
Oh, yeah, small bit.
Okay, let's get moving along. All right. After you've gotten to the past the accommodation screen, the written exam screen is you click on it and you can select one, English only, Spanish only. Okay. Then the next thing is the affidavit and release form that they have to sign. Then the payment screen, you get one chance to do this correctly. Otherwise, you have to start over at the beginning. Okay, so make sure they go slowly and they fill in the correct credit card number, the expiration date, and the 3-digit security code, that they fill it in right, because if they don't, it's going to throw them out and they have to start all over again. All right. The receipt screen, you click finish. I would personally make a copy of it.
We normally do in class when we're doing our high school students. Normally.
Okay. That's just my preference. Then it'll show up on the screen, approved, and this completes your application for payment. You must now check your email for approval for registering for the dates you want it. Okay, we did it, and in under 5 minutes, the 2 emails came up, which I thought was pretty outstanding. Okay, this goes to the next step. Now, this is just the registration part. This does not automatically sign you up for your written, which is one registration, and your clinical skills, which is a second application. Okay, so you've got 2 of them. So a lot of people, what they're doing is they are thinking I'm registered for it now and not looking for the other emails. Okay. This is what it looks like in their management system. Welcome to the candidate management system. It gives them their passwords in the link, and you fill it in. Okay, considerations. The latest you can schedule an event is 3 weeks prior to the testing date you want. Prometric in their information says 2 weeks. Cindy at Prometric said, you really need to give it 3 weeks or more because the nurse examiners, they try and plan their schedules as far ahead as they can. And so you have more success in getting an examiner to pick up your testing date. Okay, that's why she recommends at least 3 weeks, if not more. Okay, so if you have a particular testing date that you need or want, let me know. As soon as I get the lab book back, Kim, I'm going to put yours in. I have to check because Grace uses the lab on Saturdays.
I
And
told her to use the small one this Saturday.
okay.
This is also the opposite of before with Pearson, right? Because with
Right.
Pearson, the tester had to pick the date before we could sign up on that date.
Mm-hmm.
But now they can pick the date, but if a tester doesn't come get it, it gets canceled.
Right.
That sounds like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know yet.
So we're just going to have to see what goes.
Is there a way you can check for me and see if the 10 students register, 8 registered?
I can look and see if they picked it up.
Because that's this Saturday, and I don't know if
I haven't.
anybody.
I
does
looked
it.
and there's been no notification of cancellation. Because that
Well,
kind
if my students have registered, because I don't know if they have.
okay, I can look.
But the student chooses the date, correct? Is that what this says, when they register, they actually go back in and they choose the date they want to test on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No.
they'll tell you the dates that are available.
They tell
Only
you the
that's
days
available.
that are available. And
Did you set up 2 dates for me already or
no, not yet.
We have the dates.
no? Do you?
We do, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right, you
The
got it.
dates that you wanted.
And they,
Because I need the lab book so I can check to make sure nothing else is scheduled on the dates that everybody wants. Because it'd be really embarrassing if we have a testing date and a class. You know.
So we're saying if my students are done in April,
Mm-hmm.
they should be able to register 3 weeks prior to the test.
Okay,
So if the date.
wait a second. They have to have completed the course
Right,
before they can
Right.
apply.
yeah, because they have to be approved that they've completed their hours.
Mhm.
So if we're done by April the 15th,
Okay,
I'm going to do my spreadsheet and then they'll get their emails and they'll be able to register for the dates that you're picking from me.
mhm.
That's gonna be a little confusing though, because we're gonna have other dates we've chosen. How does she specify that that's only for her?
We
uh,
don't have control over that.
You just have to get them registered as soon as possible.
Mhm.
Maybe if there's 2 or 3 dates available, maybe 3 dates, that way if other people sign in, they have another option.
Mhm.
Since I have 13 students, we can only do 8. If there's at least 3 days available in case somebody else signs for one of those
Right.
days.
well,
Because
we
yeah, we
have
have no control over it.
almost 2 weeks between us and you.
Okay.
And that, so we're hoping to be able to, but then you come, you're gonna be coming with your student. And we put you coming 3 days.
On the good note, we're currently just internal. They still call it IPS. internal. So we won't have external people coming back.
Yeah, we're not,
Our students
we're
here.
not gonna do regional at all. And this way, it's just Midland College students.
But there's gotta be a way we can manage the students registering.
Other than just telling your students, don't sign up for those 2 days.
Right, like for each class, we can tell them these are the dates designated for you.
For this
Mhm.
class, that's what I was,
Right.
Choose these 2 days.
Yes,
Don't choose another date.
right.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta be able to manage that somehow.
well, you assign each instructor, these are your dates,
Right.
and that's what I
And
would,
that's what you tell your students.
that's what
Mhm.
I'm telling them.
Well, I know the experience with the adults sometimes is they get stage fright or whatever, and they say, oh, I'm not ready to test, I'll do it later. You know, so then that puts them on another day.
Yeah, but.
If they do that,
after
they
you get
forfeit
through all this
their,
bulk, I would think.
So like, are adults finishing at the same time we're finishing?
Okay.
If they're not, then that wouldn't be a problem, because we'll be scheduling ours.
Right.
And then they can do theirs, you know, on their day.
But in the short term, though, we can have that careful. We can give them a lot of options. So
Right.
maybe in the future, we can give them a couple options.
Well, I think we won't have that problem, because with Erica's students, we only finish at the end of this semester, right? And everything else is Erica.
We are gonna have to schedule 2 days for each of Erica's classes because of
And-
the limit.
That's where she's gonna have to monitor, because if she has 10 students, she has to what's our minimum?
8.
5.
Oh.
five, the minimum is 5.
Oh, yeah,
Maximum is
five.
8.
Yes, yes.
So she's gonna have 5 and 5.
They're gonna have to test whether they want to or not.
Otherwise, we won't meet our.
We won't meet our minimum, and then they're gonna cancel it.
Right.
Okay. We good?
Mhm.
All righty, moving along. Okay, testing day, when the candidates come to the testing room, they will ask for ID, government issued ID with a photo and a signature. Okay, it can be their driver's license and passport. It can be a driver's license and their school ID, as long as it has a signature on it.
That's not government though, is that okay?
No, that's not government, but that Prometric will accept it.
And they did accept mine without a signature on it, but if the signature makes it easier, then we can do the signature.
You could get a cranky tester that wants.
Yeah, it all depends on the,
Yeah.
On the test.
Tester. Cindy told me that there's a new lady in Odessa that just is a brand new evaluator. So I'm hoping that that'll give us, you know, a one-upmanship, so to speak, because it's close by. She won't have to get a hotel room, you know. So, and I did check, like, could we have a nurse examiner for 2 weeks? And she said, yes, you can do that. So we can get caught up. And so as soon as we're finished with this, I'm probably going to spend some time this afternoon and tomorrow downloading and putting in all the lists.
I have a question, Lisa, if we've covered this or not yet. With Pearson, we had to have somebody on site to welcome them and make sure everything was set up. Are we gonna have to do that with Prometric also?
Yes.
Let's think ahead on that too.
Mm-hmm. And our first day that we test, they will have an evaluation group from Prometric evaluate the
Is
facilities.
that by Saturday?
But I haven't heard anything from them yet.
They don't, I have the information about what the test facility is.
And we sent photos, we did everything.
We
So,
had to make for Pearson TV had to make an appointment, and they came and evaluated first because they were just starting. But then after that, they periodically came in when they were testing, and the person that was testing evaluated our facility. Pillowcases was one of the things that we didn't have enough of way back then.
So we'll work out all the kinks and then on Monday.
Mhm. Okay. They will have the candidates empty their pockets and store their personal belongings.
That's the problem. Where are they gonna store that? Because it has to be here,
What about their purse? So they're not allowed to bring a purse in?
No.
wallet,
They should leave their purse in the
ID,
car.
keys, that's it. And you need the same thing in the computer lab. The
It needs to
lab
be
and
a
the computer
safe
lab.
place too.
Well, what about, I was about to say, like, you know, where we have like the morgue, we not put some bins, and they can put that in there while they test,
Mm-hmm.
and then before they leave the room, they can just get it out of the bins, because it's in a whole separate area.
How about our clear shoe cover things?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could just hang that and put.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So that maybe it's more transparent and then somebody else won't walk off with somebody's wallet.
Maybe so.
And then, you know, it's working.
It's just two people, right, and they're at a time? The
Because
person
in
testing
here-
and then acting as far as the.
But then we have in the computer lab 8.
We could just have like 8 little shoebox things and,
No, they're talking about like a cell phone home.
yeah.
Is that each slot for the shoe is large enough for a person's wallet and the ones and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
That makes sense.
Okay. All righty. There's time given to ask questions. The nurse examiner will tell the candidate what time they test and whether they're playing the resident or the candidate. Okay. All right, moving right along. The evaluator will give the candidate a card that has a list of skills they are to perform with instructions for each skill. The candidate will read it. They will tell the candidate how much time she has for the test, and it will give them time to reevaluate and review their skill instructions. Okay? The sacred spreadsheet. Okay? So, you know, this is, okay.
The real one or the bogus one?
Right?
We don't know. It's the real one.
Okay. This is what it needs to be looking at like. And Eric, and I asked if we could use his name, and Eric said yes. Okay, this is what it needs. It does need to have the last name, middle if you want, but not necessary. Send emails, yes. Their email. Okay, when you ship me the spreadsheet, make sure their email is correct. Okay, because that's what they're going to use to communicate. Okay, we don't have to do the address and everything here. We do need to put in our school code, which is TX0270.
What's yours?
Is this a real one or a,
This is a real one that we sent in.
you see how Tara's name is T-E-R-A and her email is T-A-R-A?
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, is that
Flag.
like not her? So then she probably wouldn't get an email if it's not, or, so what happens if Tara's name is not spelled like that and she shows up with an ID and it's spelled differently? Are they gonna like, not let her test?
Well, before, with Pearson U, your ID didn't match,
Yeah, it
You
did
didn't
good job,
test.
right?
And
period.
that happened occasionally, one
It
would
did.
have a maiden name or they'd have the hyphenated name.
Then they had to bring in, if something happened between when they signed up and they got divorced or whatever, they had to bring the document. And then she would look at the document, but she still had to send it in to Pearson VUE to get it okay. It's not up to the evaluator's discretion.
Okay.
That's why I'm making their ID cards match their driver's
Right.
license.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's right, Kim. Thanks. Okay, now, one thing that would help, because I do go in and fill it in, is where they have the application ID. We need the I go in and put the 112. That is some sort of code that they are using for Texas. Okay,
That's something I need to add when I send it to you.
if you don't, I just pick it up and put it in,
So
Kim.
that's for me too, 412?
Mm-hmm.
I know I looked it up, but I can't remember now.
That's it. Okay. That's the only thing, you know, that we can, that, you know, I add that's extra. Okay. So this is what the spreadsheet should look like when you send it to me. And this one, I'll tell you, I held my breath and it just slid right in. I was so happy. Okay. They said this, if it's a small spreadsheet, it goes in faster. They said if it's more than 20, it can take up to 4 or 5 minutes to load. Okay, so I think if we just keep it under 20, we will be just fine. Okay, now the written test. Okay, based on the National Survey of CNAs, it's RNs and LVNs who supervise the CNAs. And what they do is they poll them and they get information. They want to focus on the role of the CNA in long-term care, not in the hospital. Okay. It's reviewed by a national exam panel. It's professionally written. It's reviewed by NEC, which is the National Exam Council. It has to meet the NACEP standards. There are 50 questions and 10 pre-test questions. And the 10 pre-test questions, they do the same thing on the RN and LVN exams. Those are test questions that they're working to see if they're valid or not. Okay, and they need more data. All right, the time they are allowed is 1 hour and 30 minutes for 60 questions. It goes, the role of the nurse's aide is 20%, promotion of safety is 22, promotion of function and health of the resident is 20, basic nursing care for residents with changes in health is 24%, specialty care for the resident is 14%. Okay, now this is the next part. Okay, what I have done, and I have put, it's not only in the PowerPoint, but it's in your book. This is what is called the detailed test plan. Okay, and when I taught in the LVN program, they have a detailed test print of all the topics that they are going to cover. And so I made sure that what I did was I took their test plan, I went through it, put what chapters it was in, and made sure it focused on the things that they are going to be testing on. That is one reason that my classes back then were very, very successful, because I was sure everything that was on their PowerPoints and they were tested on was there. Okay, so when you're writing up your lesson plans in the beginning of the semester, get the test plan out, look at it, highlight in your book or on your calendar where things are. Okay, so that you're sure they've heard them. Okay, I never make any differentiation about it, other than I say, you know, you really might see this again someday. Okay, you can't say this is on the test. Okay, you just include it in with all the other material. okay? But this is how you make them successful. My mantra is to set the students up for success. And this is how I do it. Okay, so, and I don't know if I told you, I really had to dig to find the entire test plan. Okay, and you have it's in one of the separate sections where it has the detailed test plan and it has the 20 skills that they will test. Okay, now technically they have 22. One skill everybody gets tested on is hand washing. The second one is indirect care. Okay, that's where you get the 22. Okay, Miss Holly's going to go through that. Is everybody good with that so far? Okay, these are your key high points: reporting requirements, promotion of health and safety, time management, how to prioritize. Okay. They'll have it as nurse aide, as a member of the health care team, the nursing care planning process and implementation. Okay. I mean, we hit all this the first week of school because that's the very first one in our books. So, you know, this is why it's really important to hit it and hit it hard and to test it very thoroughly. Okay, here's the prometric promotion of safety. And this is what they consider to be their highlights. Okay, they've even got fire prevention, evacuation, immediate life safety techniques, disaster, signs and symptoms of infection. It's very, very detailed. Okay, it doesn't, now, you know as well as I do, those are all chapters, each one of them. So, you know, you need to make sure they understand the basic principles, because what they will do is they will frame the questions so that they are either knowledge-based, that's information in, information out, or they will do comprehension. They will give them a situation and they need to understand what the question is asking in order to answer it. Okay, I looked at the all the questions that they have for practice exams, and I do not see any application that is using the information and applying it to the situation. Okay, I do not see application very often. I think I saw 3 out of about 50 tests I looked at.
And the most common question or place that is, I'm sorry, CNA Plus online has some free and some you have to pay for exams that most relate to prometrics questions.
So do you see what a gift these are for the instructor who's teaching the course? I mean, this is gift. Okay, they have promotion of function and health of the resident. That's 24%. Okay, they have age-related psychosocial needs. Okay, basic nursing care provided by the nurse aide, acute emergency situations. What do they do? Okay, providing specialized care for residents with change in health. Now, this is a little bit different. Okay, there are chronic diseases, as you all know. Okay, suppose the resident has hypertension and they've been monitoring it. And they're finding that it's creeping up little by little by little. Okay, they're monitoring it. They're still in stable condition, are they not? Okay, so what they end up doing is they go into this section when they have a stroke or a heart attack. Okay, it puts them into this because their condition is not stable. It's changing. And long-term care deals with constant, regular, non-life-threatening things. Okay? With this, they have common impairments as the result of having a stroke or a heart attack, or maybe they're having difficulty swallowing. This is where they really hit it. Okay? And the psychosocial problems and the safety considerations that you have to accommodate as their health deteriorates. Okay? So this is, it's 14%, which is enough if they miss it that they're going to have a problem. Okay? So we really need to, make sure we hit mental illness very well, especially dementia and Alzheimer's. Okay, how do we lessen their anxiety? What do we do for it? What can we do for it within the care plan? Okay, anything in Prometric, they always refer to the care plan. You don't do anything beyond the care plan.
They're real adamant about that.
I mean, everything, every seminar I've gone to is, they are absolutely adamant. You do nothing more than what is on the care plan. And if you feel you need to go to your charge nurse. That is one thing they are adamant about. All righty. We good so far?
Yes.
Any questions? Okay, goodies. All righty. Care of the dying, they put that in a little separate section. And postmortem care. And, I even have the dinosaurs with the volcano, so we're good. We're covered with our dinos. And I hope you notice that our dinosaurs, as we progress through this, have gotten more friendly, not, so voracious. Okay, here are your skills list, sleeping, bathing, teeth brushing. Okay, it's got it all. Okay, their exam itself consists of 5 skills. 3 are prompted, 2 are impromptu, and that is the hand washing and indirect care, and that belongs to Miss Holly. Okay, there are checkpoints that are weighted. The candidate must pass all 5 skills to pass. The standard setting is used to determine minimal competency. Okay?
So it's not like where they could just miss one anymore?
Nope.
No.
No.
Get them all?
Pearson, he started out like that. Remember, it started out, they had to pass all 5, and then they changed it after the first year because nobody was passing.
Yeah.
Then they changed it, you get have to do this one. And all the rest had to be correct. I don't know how that's gonna
So we're
work.
back to 5, you think?
That's what they say.
All 5, you have to pass, all 5.
Because you're not doing really 5 skills anymore.
You're just doing
It used to
3.
be hand washing and 4 skills, but they changed that indirect care. So that's why they made it.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, you're passing 3 skills.
Okay.
The hand washing and indirect care
That's a good.
is communication, safety, but,
But you have to get all 3 of those they give you, or you pay.
and it's all weighted, but we don't know what the weights are.
That doesn't mean we won't figure it out. So, okay. handouts I've given to you is the Prometric Written Oral Detail Test Plan, the Prometric Center Most Frequent Errors, and the PowerPoints. And I'm going to get out of here and hang on. Maybe. Okay. Prometric. Okay, where's my video?
Right?
I'm doing good over there.
We're good, Ray.
All right, good.
And this is on their website now.
What is it listed under?
Welcome, it's candidate management system. And Sean was the one that got it for me.
Yes, to look at.
Okay. And one. This is the other, oops, hold on. This is the other thing that I gave you in your folder. This was done by Cindy Patterson. And what it is it's, and you'll notice they make this really hard to read, but here's some of your exam details. Okay, here are some of the pass rates for Texas. All right, here's how they matrix their skills in the different sections. Okay, you'll see they made that really easy to read. The next slide, you know. Okay, this tells you about the candidate, but here's where the real meat of the issue is. Okay, measurement and record pulse. And it gives you the little scenario and then common mistakes to avoid. Okay, like fingers in the middle of the wrist or on the wrong side, using this thumb instead of the index.
And according to them, that's the most missed too,
Okay.
is pulse.
Yep. So anyway, I thought this, I mean, this is really gold to have, because you can use this to help instruct your students when, you know, they are practicing in the lab. Okay. And each one of them this has the 20 skills and the issues, the common mistakes. Okay. With range of motion, they usually do wrong side, or they do more than what they're supposed to.
That side is stipulated by the examiner when they come in. Used to be, it's always the right side was weak, but now they will say, well, right or left.
Okay, and if they say to do the wrist and the elbow and they do the shoulder, that's not following the
That's a fail.
instruction.
Immediately fail that skill.
Okay, so they've got to learn how to follow their instructions. Okay, so I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because we need to move on, but you know, this is gold. This will help keep us and direct us. So, and I made sure it was big enough you could read it. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. Let's take a 5 or 10 minute potty break. We do have indirect care here. And
I have it in mind as well.
And in their behaviors that they want to see reflected. So, but I just wanted to complete the entire PowerPoint so that you would have it in one place. And then Miss Holly, when we come back from a quickie break, is going to present her part. Okay? Oh, any questions?
You know where the bathrooms are, baby?
Oh, I found it, yeah, thank you.
All righty, let's take a quickie break. 10 minutes, 10:30. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the clock that hasn't been turned yet.
Yeah, you gotta get one of the guys to climb up there.
I will get my David to climb up for me.
Presentation. That would be something good for me to send to the students.
I found it really helpful. And then I put in there step by step in the PowerPoint for you, how to do it. But after
this is all in there. I can be sure to pull it out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we did the cheat sheet,
The cheat sheet.
all the time.
So, I'll pull it out of there and we can put it. So I'll have, you know, so it's.
Yeah, that might be better than giving them this.
Yeah.
And I also saw something helpful, I was gonna ask you about this, but then I saw it, was, students wanting the number for prometrics, so it's supposed to
That's it's the same, that is their helpline for the whole US. So,
And
they
then
don't have a special one like
Yeah.
that. So
Do you think it's faster if they email the question?
it depends on what they're doing. If they're filling in their application and stuff, and then you
Yeah.
talk to somebody.
Other than that, yeah, I think.
So like, you know, on our.
My husband's, the sergeant for the DOT division in Fort Thompson.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. But I want to say that I've met you through, did I meet you through the
So there's numbers there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I met you
It's
outside one.
If you need, questions on
But I
first
only
ring,
ever met Oscar one time. He was his wife and
and then on this side it
We're
has.
probably-
If you.
He got.
Wrong one. Wrong one.
All this.
Married now in 5
Those
years.
are the kind of
but-
questions
Oh,
I get all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
It was easy just to say,
Yeah.
Here, yeah.
So,
I
but
think that'd be a good one, and I could see like.
We had like a dinner or something. And I was like, but no, it was.
maybe
Yeah,
we
it
need
was
to
like about, I would say about.
cheat
11
sheet.
years ago.
Yeah, I met Rose and Luis, through, the nursing
I don't know,
home.
just
Like
thinking
the-
through scenarios.
Well, and I was thinking of it when I was
And it's so
working.
funny, I laugh with Rose all the time, and I'm like, the first time I met Rose, I literally went for a sample.
Pulled this all off.
I don't want
I
to.
think even the video.
So I don't know.
helpful.
It's like a cheat
You're right.
sheet.
And we laugh
Online.
now. Rose is fierce.
Well, that's why I put the.
She's vicious, and we laugh now all the time.
That's why her and I button heads
Good,
sometimes.
appreciate it.
We're both the same.
We laugh. I'm like, she's
And I was thinking ahead for us.
And it's so funny. You know, we didn't, and I didn't even know Oscar, so it was interesting that.
Yeah.
Like, he was
I didn't find out I did it.
I'm like, no, no.
That was her.
I think I said that, all right. And it's so fun,
And
right?
I do. Because I've really got it crazy.
That's so funny.
I had no idea that that was
Spring and fall.
brother.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was
I
all
didn't
to
know
be
more
more.
Is that different for you?
Last one, so I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
the same here.
Yeah, like, he's so much
Well, I mean,
taller than.
they're all approved, but I put on there.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
If there isn't the 112, I just take it,
Okay.
I just did that.
And it's longer.
It is. And I'll just go for the, well, most of them, they're private.
She said.
Yeah, I stand next to, every Tuesday at the softball game. So we walk right there. And, well, of course, their daughter's place, right?
Yeah, that's not one.
Yeah, they have one, and then my daughter's,
I mean, they both now.
Yeah.
He was like,
Have y'all picked out the 2 weeks you're wanting to test it?
Yeah, Rose is my husband's first husband.
oh, really? Oh, the first time that we, of course, like, it was Thanksgiving.
Where?
Wait, your brother was shaking? Like, for real? Like, on the side or what?
Yeah.
Like a pay
He has a sign, he has a sign
That's
now.
a naked right there,
I
y'all.
know, he's crazy. I know, whenever they tell me he was deacon, of course, you know, I go to church and then, so, so the first time when I saw him at church, I was like,
It made me feel better about yourself. though.
yeah, I'm like, oh,
You want it? It's like, I mean,
well, but he was
Testing on
fine.
every Friday.
So when I was in high school,
We're in there
what's it
2
called?
weeks and then.
I, yeah, he was my teacher. He was my high school teacher.
No way.
So I really knew too much about him.
Cause you know, when my brother was like, super smart. Like, it's like one of those across the street, like, I can get you home from outer space, he like, yeah, he was fine. But he was always real nice,
There's a spot.
he did night school and I go to night school.
Yeah, and I'd like to know that
This is a lot.
with Eric on it, how many of those have registered? Two people are gonna get left out. and I haven't told anybody that. So I probably need to.
Right there, are you there?
Well, not everybody might want to.
Okay, the little link thing was off on the thing, so it wasn't showing the link for them to connect. You know, when you go into settings and turn on the link.
We actually did just have a.
No, because I just went online and I opened it because it didn't have the little camera on there.
I really said this, but I'm just the wrong one.
I think once we get it, I'll get everybody caught back up.
I think it's gonna work.
Well, we're doing.
I had, Tori,
I lived in Alpine for 5 years.
Tori and Kendrick put it on again.
He was
Heidi,
Want to hire.
Tori, Kendrick, and Heidi put it on again. Kendrick is there.
So I'll send it to you too, if you want to tell students. from
Yeah.
last year.
They were crazy.
Well,
Yeah. I didn't even.
Heidi is there.
My daughter was going to school. And I was with her.
okay.
And they
Heidi,
had
Kendrick,
a-
Tori,
Send
and
it to us. I don't have to be safe with our stuff. Okay, everybody's, you know, it's a nursing home.
All my family.
I've got some nursing.
And then later on,
Do your kids need summer job?
yeah, then we walked later. I'm like, this is all my life.
And
So they're supposed to be working on their slideshow presentation on the urinary system.
I told them,
Well, I get them from time to time, comments, they always send it to.
Did you
I
hear me?
don't have students,
Do they
not
do
all
that
of
for
our
real?
students, but like,
people just know
well,
he does stuff.
all of last year. I sent it to
Legit.
zero.
So make sure you look at the announcements and
Three classes.
I put on there
On our Facebook.
what I'm looking for on your PowerPoint presentation.
Well, if you hear from
I,
anyone.
and, but my husband, you know,
They'll
you know,
email me
they're
what
shopping,
they want.
you know, we go shopping, and he's like, how's this look? And he'll be something, and I'll be like, he still has that. Take it off. That's just-
Yeah, it has to do with it.
Yeah, it's like, even the mask on though. You know, they have that little-
Because
So you can get the CBE.
Hey guys, y'all ready?
teach.
You want to do this? Just saying.
We're ready.
You sure?
Are you ready? We're born ready.
Are we ready? As ready can be, I think.
I have to say your hair is amazing.
Thank you.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just bright. It's not, you know.
Yeah, after I used to have really good hair and then.
We haven't had kids on COVID. I lost all my hair after COVID.
Did you? It made a big difference. A lot of people say that.
I mean, I would shower and I would go like this. I'm gonna wash my hair anymore. I'm gonna go bald.
It's, you know what, mine was like, not like that still too.
Check
And
it
like,
out.
it broke off. Like,
Yeah.
All this work.
Like right here, like you can see all of my scalp right here. I started drinking the gummy vitamins and minoxidil
Did you?
and the men shampoo. All those three, and my hair is growing. Like now I have a lot of baby hairs growing, but it was bad. Like I wanted to cry.
Right, like, it feels really thin.
And I was going bald. Yeah, I was going like, I don't have a lot of hair as it is, and it just got really bad after COVID, and I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
Ah, that's.
A lot of people are saying that.
But I have antibodies right now. I believe my blood got it, but-
Okay, guys, we're gonna go, you have your PowerPoints first. We're gonna skip over the PowerPoints and we're gonna go to that last. The next thing you have is indirect care behaviors. If you look at that indirect
these are things that are directly on Prometric's website. We printed you out a copy. It means for indirect care, this is the new skill that we have. They want to make sure that communication, safety is important. The residents' rights are being cared for, their safety is being cared for, standard precautions, preferences about the residents. And that's all this indirect care, and we're going to talk about them a little later. They have indirect care in the next page after. It's each individual skill has the indirect care that goes with each individual skill. Okay. The next thing is going to be clinical skills test checklist. This is the actual list for each skill that the examiner has to check off. They want to know, for instance, on hand washing, did you begin hand washing by wetting the hands, applying soap to hands? You have two parts to that. First, and it's just questions. I took these questions and the things that we've used previously when I made the student handbook. And this is for all the rest of your skills. Next section is Prometric's clinical skills timing study. And this is how the skills will be timed out and which skill you're going to get one with a shorter time, one with a moderate time, and one from the longer time and the longest time. Only one. So you have 3 skills from each student will have 3 skills. And this is how they develop the timing. Okay, next section. Recording measurement forms. In this lab, Miss Sandra, did we get to the small lab making the recording forms? You know how we made them in this lab in the kitchen?
No.
Okay, so we're going to have it in the small lab as well. So if you go by the water, there's a little stand up, and each measurement form is situated in there. And we're going to be doing the pulse today. Then the next section is the clinical skills administration checklist. This is the things that need to be in the lab, have to be in the lab, and where they kind of should be. There is not a lot of leeway. In other words, we're getting when we go in the lab, I'll show you, we're getting a new shelving unit, and everything that's on the table will be on that shelving unit. It should not be on a table in the middle like we used to. Everything is going to be in the bedside cabinet or on the supply shelving unit. And this tells us what we need to have, where we need to have it. In that same, you have your copy of the cabinet, that same little, the 3rd page. At the top of the drawer, you need all these things on. You have 2 shelves of the cabinet. When you open it, the basin, wash basin, soap, lotion. The bottom is for the bedpan, toilet paper, wipes. The next section says nurse aid clinical skills test general instructions. These are for the students, and it's 2 pages. General rules. This is what they need to know before they come to the testing. I plan on having each one of these pages when they come to register. Things to ask other instructors, and these are things that we need to talk about before we go through our skills. It says barriers for the table. Miss Rosalinda, are you using any kind of barrier on your over the bed table?
Well, I was gonna use the chunks.
A chuck? How expensive is that going to be for every student?
Well, they're gonna keep using the same chuck. I was gonna get them to carry a little bag and then put their name on it and use their little chuck. Because I mean, it's really not gonna get dirty unless the foot care one, of course, we would throw that one away for the foot care because it's on the floor.
So,
For, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we could use a towel.
I mean, I used a towel the other
We
day.
could
and
use a towel.
but then you have the expense
Laundry.
of laundry. A lot of towels.
I was just gonna use the chuck. That was my plan.
And when they go and throw it away, are you going to make them throw it in a garbage can? Their garbage can right next to the bed. So
Yes.
that way it's still clean. They can take
Right.
it out and reuse it. So they still have muscle memory.
Mhm.
So, okay. And reuse it. Yeah, because they're expensive.
Yeah. I mean,
What are y'all using for chucks? Puppy pads or
No, we have Liz orders them for me on Pocket Nurse.
Pocket Nurse?
Mhm.
You find it's cheaper?
You know, I haven't looked.
You
at the
don't care?
price, But I haven't looked at the price. I just tell them when I need them and they get them for me.
Yeah, well, we have a Shirley that we have to. Okay, but we
I guess
want
I
to,
don't order them that often, so I don't have as many students as y'all do.
Jana?
I use the towel because I got threatened not to use chucks because they're too expensive. So I've been using a towel.
Yeah, but then you have the same expense. It's 50
You're washing
cents
it.
a pound to wash and dry.
That's $2 a pound for me.
$2.
My mom cracked and washed it. My mom's a
Uh-huh.
high school.
I just know I was told not to use them.
Well,
Expensive, so whatever we're just gonna pick with it, take it and stick with it.
what do you want to decide, Paula? Chucks, you using the puppy pads
I'm using puppy pads
and they reusing them?
and they reuse.
It's cheaper than towels washing.
Are they each touching them over and over or just one person?
One person has their own.
And they just keep it?
Yep,
And use it over and over.
and we have some small garbage bags right there, clear,
That's what I was gonna do.
and put their name on it.
Like with their gown too, like I have them use their gown and, I mean, that was not a tested skill, but
I don't give them a gown right now. They're not getting a gown. We have just demonstrated one per group. We have our classes in groups, teams. So we don't, everybody doesn't get one. They're too expensive. Chucks, reuse. Privacy blanket, you knew we have privacy blankets now? You moved them?
No, you have to make room.
Okay, so you're gonna take them and they have in your lab, small lab, it is the comforter, the blanket. These have some tan ones
And we have blue.
and we have blue, either or, but so we're gonna have to find place. You write me a list of things that need to,
They're
Sound-
already in there to be able to use or you're gonna put them?
The gray ones are already in the blue lab.
And then
I
Right.
have five in this lab.
five in this lab, okay.
okay? Beginning steps. Everybody needs to know about this. Call, bell, and reach without touching the resident, then going wash your hands. So when you go in, knock, knock, knock. Hi, my name is Holly Gertz. I'm here to do dressing change, whatever, a bed linen change, occupied bed. Let me provide privacy. Let me adjust the bed if need. Here's your call bell without touching, just lay it in reach. I'm gonna go get my supplies, wash my hands. I'll be right back. You have to actually wash your hands the first skill until the examiner tells you not to. So if she says, and she's not satisfied that you've washed your hands right the first time, when you end the skill, you have to go back and wash your hands. And if, again, she's not satisfied, then on the second skill, same thing, knock, knock, hi, my name is, adjust everything. Here's your call light. Go and wash your hands until the examiner says you can now quit washing your hands physically. Every time you change your gloves or every time you're supposed to, you have to, I verbally wash my hands. Okay. Occupied bed, gloves, according to Prometric, you do not wear gloves at all. If you choose to and instruct your students to wear gloves, you need to make sure that as soon as those gloves are off, they're deposited regular into the garbage. They must wash their hands and it must be taken off at the appropriate time. The bedpan at the start of the skill, when you're doing bedpan, is there a pad? I don't know why I wrote this.
I think because one of the videos showed us that there was a pad
And you have to take it
Yeah.
off,
for bedpan and catheter, remember?
right? But one of them, it's only one,
And we're like, you should remove it,
and before you start.
yeah.
Make sure that the call bell is in hand, but not the weak hand. If you're going for changing their clothes and they say whatever arm is weak, that call bell needs to be on that strong side. That's a must. We told you about gloves, donning and doffing. Immediately wash your hands. Foot care, gloves, if only if warranted. Bed, raise or leave low, it's not required. but you need to make sure that it's locked. From what I understand, a couple of people that I've spoken to on Facebook says when they did have testing, the examiner comes in and unlocks the bed. Okay. The skills, all skills must end with clean hands. Don't, as soon as you wash, don't touch the bed, don't touch the call bell, don't touch nothing before, because if you do not end the skill, you don't get those points. Side rails are not required, but if you do use the side rail, it is not graded, period. Told you about that. Beds, low position locks. Okay, that's good. The next thing we have is our skills. So let's go back to my PowerPoint, please. Okay, these are some new things: indirect care, privacy blankets, over the bed table barrier, dressing with shirt, pants, and socks. I know that Miss Erica, for some reason, likes our old shirts and the green scrubs we have in the closet. Over here, we have pajamas that kind of match, and socks. They have to have a top, a bottom, and a sock, pair of socks. Occupied bed making, urinary drainage bag, feedings now in the chair, catheter care, pericare. When you do catheter care, you have to do front pericare now. Mouth care and denture care with swabbing. So you have regular brushing teeth, then you have denture care with swabbing. Hand and nail care, range of motions divided into 3 skills now. And keeping the resident in the middle of the bed is a safety concern. Hand washing, you're not giving instructions about when to wash your hands. They have to choose when is the best time to wash your hands. Candidates need to wash their hands before they touch their supplies, and make sure they don't put their supplies next to their uniform. That's another no-no. They will be evaluated during that first skill, like I said, until the examiner says stop. Do not stop manually washing your hands until you're told to stop. Right, got it? Physically. After that, it will be graded on the universal standard precautions, infection control measures. Hand washing is scored in every clinical's test as one of the 5. Do not touch the resident before you wash your hands. I can't tell you how many times people have said that so far. Don't touch the resident. Even if you're going to take the call bell and it's dangling, make sure you don't touch them. Friction 20 seconds, used to be 20 seconds, and then we clean our nails. This is true, but Pearson view, if you didn't, like the first time you went to wash, you did not do it a whole 20 seconds, then you did this, and then you went back to scrubbing again using friction, Pearson view would count those extra seconds. These people do not. 20 seconds. And don't forget, now you have to do the cuticles as well. Okay? Everybody needs to do their cuticles, then either or.
Can they not this anymore?
They can, they need to do that. That's cleaning underneath the nails
They
technically.
do over and they do on just on things.
And they do.
Okay.
They want you to do it individually. Every skill must end with wash hands. I'm telling them, put your hands together, say your prayers, right? Mannequins are not. So we have a lot of person skills now, but we have more mannequin skills. These are the ones that are performed on a person, okay? The next skill, the next PowerPoint, these are the ones that are mannequins. The only one we have different is number 8, empty contents of the resident's urinary drainage bag. It is a recorded, but you also have to do the intake and output on it, okay? So that could be a mannequin, could be a person, depending on the people, the examiner. Indirect care. There's Dr. Vanessa Lee, I liked it. It's long. It is long, but it gives you a good insight as to what she and what Prometric is trying to accomplish. Most of the time, it's taking care of the beginning and ending steps, which we have beginning and ending steps as part of our new handbook. It includes infection, safety, communication, the resident's preference, needs, comforts, and rights. They want you to communicate. beginning steps. And you have a sheet. This is what we've put together. Now, if you have on our, I made you a color copy, so it's got the letter, whether it's IC for indirect care, or it's got the number where I found on Prometric's website, their skills that we just went through. I put the number where the step is, where I got the information. Hello, my name is Miss Jones. I'm going to be your nurse aide today. They want you to say that. I'm here to do bed bath. Is that okay with you? They're asking for the preference. Or is this a good time? Or whatever you want to substitute as that first sentence. Let me close your curtain, wash my hands, and get my supplies. I'll be right back. To go about doing it. Privacy curtain, blinds, adjust the bed if you need to. Some beds, for whatever skill head, has to be up. Or if you're tall, the bed needs to come up. Right. Call bell and reach without touching that resident. Go wash your hands, gather your supplies. And they want you to ask another one. Are you comfortable? Is this a good time? Do we need anything before I begin? Your ending steps. And I get these from where I started beginning and ending steps was from the book, our Hartman book. They had beginning steps and ending steps, and we just added what needed to go to it. Bed low and locked. Make sure the resident is in the middle of the bed. What they're talking about on Facebook, that a couple of people I've chatted with, that you need to make sure that safety is a big concern because we not going to use side rails anymore. Do you need anything? Book, magazine. Miss Callo is going to bring us some books to put at each bedside table. As a reminder, don't forget to ask. Curtains or blinds. Record if needed. Take a breath. Forgot something. Very last thing. Wash your hands. Skill done. Ambulate. This one is video. Oh, we had a question whether she's on what side. I don't remember what the thing was about that. And it says, how do you want to start step 4? Let's see what step 4 is. On skill number 3, on signal, gradually assist the client to stand by grasping transfer belt on both sides with an upward grasp. Why did I say that? How do you want to start toward step 4? Is that worded right? Is what I want to know. I want you to look at it. Give me your assessment on any of these skills. If there's something that needs to be corrected, like you're using, the students are doing it, using the student book, and something's not right. Send it to me so that I can correct what needs to be corrected in this. Maintaining stability of the resident's legs by standing knee to knee or toe to toe. How are y'all doing it in Fort Stockton? This is ambulating and transfer.
I did what the video did. So she put one foot here and the other one over here.
And you saw how she's at an angle? You did that?
Yeah, I did it too, and it works. Yeah, but I'm so short. One of my girls is like, Brittany's like 5'11", right? And I'm never gonna be knee to knee with her. It's just never gonna work. And so I can't do toe to toe because then I'm out here.
Right.
Right. So I did what she did. I put the foot here
And then
and then the other one, and then I was able to pivot straight.
So it worked better?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good. Assisting to bedpan, using a bedpan. Really big, and they said it, of course, it's normal without contaminating yourself. In our list, it's a regular bedpan or a fracture bedpan. On the list in what's in the lab from Prometric. So I don't know, no one said anything yet to me whether we have to use a fracture or regular.
Well, I went by the picture on the video and it was the regular one.
With that, but she's not Prometric though. But in our list of things that has to be in the lab from Prometric, there's both. So there's a choice.
Do we get the
It'll
choice or
probably
does she get the
it'll
choice?
probably be on the scenario.
Maybe it might be on the scenario,
If they're able to lift their hips.
right?
Do we use
Then,
the regular one? If they can, it's
Like
because
yours
maybe they have
might
a
have a
fracture.
fracture.
And you
Right.
have to roll them and put it on there.
right,
It'll probably be
so,
on there. So that's what I have on.
so as of right now, I don't have fracture pans in our bedside tables. So we might need to put them. normal
So
stuff.
Are you gonna fix every bedside table with a bed kind of like the personal
Yes,
in case?
Yes.
That's what they get.
that's what they want. That's what they want us to do. And if you look at ours, we already have that, except this bedpan, I don't have two. I just have the regular one.
I have such a hard time because the LDS students go in there and they put all their stuff in there.
I have the students come back, and before we start, part of their beginning, go wash your hands, go check your bedside table, make sure it's right. And that's the student's responsibility. Okay, changing bed linen, avoid placing soiled linens on the overbed table or against the clothing or floor. Avoid fluffing or shaking, refrain from leaving the resident completely uncovered. And the resident's heels cannot be exposed to the mattress. In other words, you roll your linen up and you tuck it under. Normally you tuck it under, let their feet hold it for you. Don't make sure that that heel is on the bare mattress. Cannot Cannot be on the bare mattress. Okay. Changing position, sideline, avoid holding that pillow. Again, top sheet, arms need not be covered. Leave them out or in, it doesn't matter. Dressing, had problems with not taking the gown off. In the video, she does not take the gown off. She pulls it down to here. It needs to be taken off and disposed of properly so that you get the points for those two.
Some of the things are not consistent.
Correct. And that's the biggest thing I found so far. There's a couple of little things, you know. The evaluator is going to tell you which arm is weak. The students will have to pay attention to that. Call bell needs to be on that strong arm. Emptying the urinary drainage. Avoid placing dirty linen on the floor except as a barrier. If you're going to use a towel as a barrier, you can place that on the floor. If you're going to use the chucks, on the floor. Where to put the graduate container? We were talking about the bedside table at the bottom drawer. Is that agreeable if we put it all at the same place? Okay. So this is 8. Okay, feeding, and it's now in a chair. Measuring, recording, beginning and ending steps. From what I understand, there was something different from the video to what we have. Sometimes those videos are not exactly, and that's okay.
And they won't be sitting in an appropriate position. You have to ask them to sit up.
That is correct. And I didn't write that down. Thank you very much. We need to, let's see. Number 2 says, ask resident to sit in a fully upright position in our handbook. So I have that down. Catheter, remove the gloves, bath basin. You have to use a bath basin. Sometimes there was a question, I don't know why, of using an emesis basin. Minimize exposure to resident. So it is okay. This one used to be with Pearson View. They didn't want any exposure at all. They wanted the knees up, draped, so that you could not see from the foot of the bed, the peri area. Okay. Linen again, please. It's the same thing over, and anytime you use linen, don't put it against your uniform. Keep it off the bedside table unless you have something down first. Ask about the water temperature, and especially not just the foot care, but the bed bath when we go over. It's one thing. Sometimes you have to ask twice. Gloves don't get dirty. Mouth care. Again, mouth care is just regular brushing. Please don't forget to stick out the tongue. You ask them. We need to go over never mind. Pericare, avoid placing that linen. Bed bath, use the basin, remove the gloves, minimize exposure. leave the resident covered. Hand and nail care, ask about the temperatures of anything that some people were talking about. Providing resident with a partial bed bath. Now, this partial bed bath is face, no soap, then neck and chest, arm, one arm, and then the back. And then you do a back rub. That's changed from the last time. Range of motion, there is 3 range of motions. They want you to do exactly what that range of motion says. Whether you're just exercising the shoulder, don't exercise anything else. If you're exercising the elbow and the hand, you just exercise the elbow and the hand. But on the lower extremity, it is both hip, knee, ankle. That resident transfer to the wheelchair, pivot only. You cannot stand them up and say, are you dizzy? At all. Has to be pivot. We used to do that. Huh, Wendy, when you were doing CNA? Pivoted, right.
We do back rubs too.
Yes, but you did a whole bed bath,
Yep.
not just partial, right? Y'all are hungry? Yes, no?
You want to break for a second for everybody to get their food situated and carry on?
Sounds good to me, because I'm hungry.
I want to thank Paula and Holly for all this work. This is really a professional circumstance. You guys have taken over
That sound good?
I think it was
on video.
When I went down.
When you went down there. More than a year ago. Well, happy. Yes.
This is how.
Oh, wow.
They don't have Thousand Island.
Okay, I got some in the icebox. But which one's mine?
Right there.
This is me?
Yes.
I mean, trying, brother, trying.
When Carton comes, she puts it here.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, that'd be wonderful. The last time I talked to her was, she was either going in or coming out of the hospital. I mean, she had really sick there. Those are dressing, they sure did. Put what they were on. But we used to go out these nights and I was, oh, yeah.
For 4 years, y'all worked.
Somebody that don't have names, I get. Oh, I know, so what?
You met Ray?
Yeah.
Okay, he said he can meet with you guys at 2 o'clock.
Perfect.
Or whenever you're done with this.
That will work.
Okay.
I got sweet, unsweet, and lemonade.
Okay.
Well, that sounds like that about covers it. That's sweet and lemonade.
My ex-wife, Callo's mama, but we're waiting on it, because he went home 3-4 weeks ago, and he was spending 2 months, yeah.
No.
How's the recording working?
I don't know, you have to ask Ray. Ray's,
It's work.
Hey,
Work.
it's working, Ray says it's working. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah. There's paper towels right behind you.
I got out some napkins. You heard first.
I hope everybody goes to
Thank you,
If you didn't, I'm sorry. Sandwich? That's the same guy who did all y'all's and I thought, oh, I forgot to make a meeting. Oh, my goodness. So
You didn't order you?
this was easy, I just.
So.
Yeah.